Here I will present a final example of how to do proofs with boxes in a Word document. So here I'm going to prove one part of the proof of the definition of the conditional. So I'm going to move from the formula P arrow Q to not P or Q. So how I'm going to do that is through a not elimination proof, which may seem perhaps a little surprising, a little counterintuitive, and that's because it is. This proof is not really very intuitive, which is why one reason I'm doing it for you as an example. So I want to assume the negation of that. So I can't just stick a negation on here because that just negates the P, the not P part. I want to negate the whole formula. So I have to put it in parentheses. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to need a falsum down here, so let me go get that out of my symbol font. Symbol. If you really don't want to go get the falsum out of your symbol font, if you think that's like too much trouble, you can just write the word falsum, but that seems like more work than actually going to get the falsum. And then I'll just copy and paste it wherever else I need it, like in the justification for this, which is going to be the falsum introduction, the rule of falsum introduction. Okay, but that still doesn't really tell me what to do now. I'm trying to get to the falsum, and what I have up here, the only thing I have as a potential contradiction is this assumption here. It's false that not P or not Q. So weirdly enough, my goal for the other part, for the falsum introduction, is going to be the formula that I want. It's going to be not P or Q. Okay, so now how am I going to get to this time? That's a good question. Let me think about this for a second. As I said, this is a very counterintuitive proof. So if I could get this by or introduction, let's try that. Yes, that will work. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this by trying to get not P. And if I could get not P, then I could get not P or Q by or introduction. So far, straightforward. Now how am I going to get not P? I'm going to get not P by a not introduction proof. Recall, this was going to be by a not elimination. So let's make a note of that so we don't forget what we're doing here. Okay. So if I'm going to get this by not introduction, then I want an assumption of P. Okay. So now that I have a P, what can I do with that? Well, I can get a Q by arrow elimination on lines 1 and 3. And what can I do with a Q? Oh, sorry, I'm going to need, let's not forget that I'm going to need a falsum to go with this, to come just before the not P. Good to just kind of stick these in right away. Okay, so with a Q, I can get not P or Q. Whoops, too far. By or introduction on line 4. And that's useful because I can use that for my falsum here. So my falsum introduction will be lines 2 and 5. Then I can get not P by not introduction on line 6. Then once I have the not P, I can get not P or Q by or introduction on line 7. And then the falsum on line 9 by falsum introduction. And here I'm going to use lines 2, and I'm going to use line 8. I'm not going to use line 5. You'll see once I put the boxes in why that would be a no-no. And then finally we'll get our conclusion by not elimination on line 9. Okay, now let's talk boxes. Where do the boxes go here? So we have an assumption. Let's remember why we're doing these assumptions. So this assumption here at the beginning was for a not E proof. And this one was for a not I. So we can see that the box for this assumption is going to go from line 3 all the way to that first falsum. So let's indent those just a little bit. And actually, because we're going to have another box that goes from line 2 all the way to the falsum at line 9, we want to actually indent these just a little bit more. You could even do it a bit more, just to be sure. Just so that the box will be nice. So let's put a box around that so that the boxes don't interfere with each other and so that they nest properly. Stretch it out more and then down. Okay, that should be pretty good. Let's try. It can be a little tricky when you've got a bunch of boxes going on. So I make that transparent. Come on. Go all the way transparent. You probably don't have to make them go all the way transparent, but it's a good idea. Now here my falsum, I don't really like how this box is working out because my falsum is kind of disappearing into that box. So let's try that. That's better. My P disappears into the box a little bit, but it's better than the falsum, than the line at the bottom of the falsum disappearing into the box. That would be really unclear to the reader. All right, we'll scooch those in a little bit. I think that should be good. Okay, and we draw another box that goes from line 2. Hello, is that my box tool? There we go. Okay, line 2 all the way down to the falsum. And we want to make sure that the other box is all the way inside that box. And now we see they line up on this side, and that's fine. That works fine. It's not so great if they line up on all sides, because then it gets really kind of confusing. You want definitely an illusion that you've got a box inside a box. You want to definitely create that picture. So here's a good example of nested boxes. Sometimes it's hard to get them lined up just right. Okay, good enough. I can read everything, so that would work. So Shift Command 4, make a nice screenshot, and we're done.